Okay, hello audiences from both Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi. So, just a quick show of hands. Can anyone tell me if the audience here are students? Can you raise your hand? Okay, so most of you. So how about the adults? Are you parents? Can you raise your hands as well? Okay, thank you. So we can see that most of our audience here are closely associated with students and young people, right? So, well, all of us, well, most of us have been teenagers. So let's go back to that time a little bit. You see, most young people, we have this passion in us. We have this dream, right? Whether that's a hobby or a career job or a social issue that we're incredibly passionate about, well, as we grow up and we realize that when reality kicks in, a lot of people keep telling us that, well, it's never, you're never gonna make it, it's too difficult, it's never gonna happen, right? And therefore, our dreams are being replaced by our fears, by our doubts, by our uncertainties. Well, here at YOUTURE, we believe in empowering students, in turning their dreams into their reality, just like a lot of our contestants here, where I can see their passion. And this YOUTURE is where they can turn their dreams into a reality. There's this quote that I really love, is the best way to predict the future is to create it. But a lot of people ask me, well then, how do you create it? That's an excellent question, and that is exactly what YOUTURE is here to answer. So let's take an example. Next, please. Let's take Nick, for example. He's a high school student, and he's just recently done a school research on how underprivileged children are having to suffer from hunger, right? And he has this passion to help them. But the problem is, he doesn't even know how to start. So just like any teenager would do, he went online. Next, please. And what does he find? He wants help, right? So what are the available sources? Next, please. So some of the available sources online are like LinkedIn, Facebook groups, or next, or even his parents. But when you realize that all these sources are not that helpful, right? Because his parents doesn't know anything about helping these children, and people online are just not willing to spend some time to help a kid that they don't even know. And this problem resonates deeply with me. Next, please. Because imagine just 6 months ago, I had this idea for this startup, but I had no idea how to even start it. Like imagine going to a new country and all you had was like Google Maps. Suddenly you realize your phone isn't that helpful, because what you need is to talk to the natives, people who know the language, know the culture. And that is what exactly mentoring is for. It's like talking to the natives, people who are willing to help and people who actually know and been there and done it. Sorry? Okay. So that is where YOUTURE comes in, an online mentoring service for students, our future leaders. So we entered this because it's huge and a growing market. The global mentoring software market is valued at 360 million in last year in 2023. But we're going to target the market here in Vietnam, which is 125 million dollars for online software market in Vietnam. Next, please. And for if we're niching it down to high school students, then in Vietnam, it's valued at $3.6 million. And next, please. And our market share we're aiming for is 252,000. Next. And the growth drivers of these market are two important elements, which is the growing demand for online education, because it's shown through studies that 35 to 55% is less time consuming than other methods of education. And second is the growing demand for emotional intelligence, that human connection that we value so much. And that is what we're aiming for for an online mentoring service. Next, please. And just like any startup needs, we created a lean canvas. Next, please. Now, for our problem, are 4 key problems that these high school students are having. First, it's difficult to find these mentors online or offline. Like, who would spend time to help these kids that they don't even know, right? Which leads us, I'm sorry, back. Right, and the third thing is to find qualified mentors. And I define qualified mentors as T mentors, meaning have theory, like books, lessons and stuff, experience, you have actually worked in the industry. And third, application, you have used it in your life. And without a plan, they had no progress. This is a huge problem for many of my friends, of people that I've surveyed on these Facebook groups that they have. They wanted to start this project, but they have no idea who to look for help and how to even do it. Next. So our solution at YOUTURE is to provide qualified online mentors plus self-paced courses. So these mentees have both personalized support, and they don't have to be too dependent on their mentors. And they have weekly meetings holding them accountable. And lastly, the most important component is to have a community of mentees and mentors. So they're not only have one source of help from their mentor. Next. So this is our website and how it works. So this is our landing page, and we talk about a few of our projects which we would help, and our most important features, our newsletter to keep you updated with our projects. And this is our mission: empowering students. And you see, you only live once, so these students should have a chance to live their dream. These are our core values. And a link to see if anyone interested in joining our team. And third, we will have, back. So next, you would have the chance to book a free demo, and all you have to do is to click in the link, and then you would be straightly directed to have a meeting with one of our staff at YOUTURE. Next. So how do mentors connect with these mentees? Well, you don't have to read all of this. Just remember 4 key steps. First of all, finding a mentor. You can have look through all these profiles, which is similar to LinkedIn profiles of these mentors, and find one that's suitable for you. Second, and then it's time for the mentees to create their own profile, which means they will have to create an application form saying about their experience, what they actually want from these mentors. And third, when our mentors view their application profile, they have the choice to interview this mentee or not. So they go through the mentee interview round. And fourth, then you just have to agree and to set weekly 1-hour meetings with our mentors. And then we will have a community of mentees and mentors where they can connect with each other and help to make these projects, these passion projects, come to real life. Next. So a few of our competitors in the market, and we've analyzed these 5 key components that really engage our users and what makes YOUTURE different. We have Mentory, Menteology, Tada Mentor, and YOUTURE. So we can see that we're the only one who have both we have all qualified mentors, detailed project guidance for our mentees. It's long term because we're having plans that range from 3 months to 12 months. We also provide self-paced courses, so these mentees are not dependent on our mentors. Back. And we have a community platform to connect all of them. Next. So our solution, as we can see, some of our key metrics to see how we're doing is the number of mentees we have, the quality score for our mentoring service, and the conversion rate for our newsletter sign up. Why is this important? To show how many of our potential customers are having because they're interested in our project. Next. So what are so different about us here? Like we have said, we have long-term mentors. As many programs or competitions that you've seen, it only lasts for like a few months, and it's hard to support them throughout to take their projects into reality, as I can relate to many of our contestants here, as they're passionate enough to actually make this into reality. So that's why long-term mentors are so important, and a lot of these platforms are not targeting high school students, as they view us as a little bit too young, which is reasonable, which is exactly why YouTure is so important, and it's targeting an untapped market. Next. So our advantage is, after we have this community, it's difficult to replicate. After we're the market leader and we have this community of mentees and mentors that connect with each other, because they have this relationship and this bond, it's difficult just for any other company just to rise and take over our mentees, because that's relationship, that's human connection that keeps us together. So that's our unfair advantage as a market leader. And some channels that we would have to connect with our mentees are, of course, social media, word of mouth, partnerships with schools, as having our mentors as some speakers at our events, and through email marketing, because through our research, email marketing is effective for all ages from around 30 to 50, which can be our parents and even young people around 12 to 18. Next. Our customer segments, just go back and remember Nick. He's a high school student, and we're targeting Vietnamese high school students here, and who are looking for long-term planning. And these students are interested in a number of topics, which makes it so intriguing to have them as customers, because they're interested not only in their project, but they also gain value in topics such as college, or they're wanting to have some distance away from their parents, which I'm sure some of our contestants here also know, and our students here also know when they're interested about these topics. And our early adopters would be some of the students who I have met, and I've seen millions online on these Facebook groups who are every day who are asking, how I'm unexperienced, how do I start one? Can anyone help me? Can anyone just give me some advice? Those are early adopters, because they are desperate to give them help, and we are their exact solution. Next. So our cost structures, we would have to have production fees for online courses, which we've estimated as $200 per course, and website development, which is we have one-time cost, which is $200. Our marketing at $150, and mentor salaries, which is 4 million VND for monthly. And next. So this is just a visualization on our business model. So you can see mentors will give us knowledge at YouTure, and they provide us with online courses and mentoring service for our mentees. Our mentees will pay for online courses and for mentoring service at monthly payments. And at YouTure, we have to spend for production fees, for salaries for mentors, and for marketing fees to our mentees. So this is just a visualization for us to easy to understand. Next. And this is our revenue streams. We have 3 main revenue streams: monthly income from to provide mentees to access to these online courses, our mentoring services, and lastly, through school partnerships to have our mentors as their speaker at their events. And I know how this works, because I've organized at my school a TEDx event, and I was a speaker as well. So I know how to connect some of these speakers, and I actually know how much it costs to have them speak at their events. So I know that school partnerships, they are very intrigued to have mentors to share their knowledge with their students. Next. So, about our team, I'm Tiffany. I'm the founder, but although this is an individual startup, but I know it's not part of the requirements, but another person who I'd really like to mention is my mentor, because I'm incredibly grateful for him, for all his advice, for all his for all the time where he spent to talk with me, to say, hey, I think you're doing this wrong, even though it's the harsh truth, but he's willing to give it anyway. And even though he's not directly working with us, it's an incredibly important reason to mention him. Next. So, YOUTURE. We have received immense support from the competition before, and all I'm asking is to continuous support for us students. So next, by supporting YOUTURE for the future of YOUTURE, for the future of student leaders. Thank you.
Oh, hi, judges, Mr. Armstrong. Do you agree with me that this sounds and looks like a TED Talk rather than like a contest? Do you agree?
So Miss Tiffany is a wonderful presenter, and she has excellent English skills, by the way. All the contestants have, and you're a great presenter, Tiffany. You've obviously put a lot of thought into this and research and preparation. You've researched the marketplace. Help me understand a couple of things, and I may have missed it, but just fundamentally, what do you envision the mentors mentoring? What topics, what subjects? Are you thinking of it partially, potentially like a tutor? Or in the case of your mentor that you just mentioned, he helped you with your business skills and your startup skills, right? Is it more about that? Or is it a broad range of subjects that you see mentors helping students with?
Great question, thank you. And this is for anyone who's also wondering as well. If it's possible, can we please go back to my slides? Because I've also put up a QR code for you guys just to see how what I've put on my website, and there we mention specifically what our services are and how we help students, and a few of example projects that we support here as well. Because a lot of students, and I've seen this from my experience with my friends and with online Facebook groups, they have a growing demand for starting their own fundraising events, or like to write their own book, or like they want to be like the founder or the creator of their own projects. So as you know, why mentoring is so important specifically for these high school students, because they are the one who's founding, they are the creator, so that's why they receive a lot of help. Because as you see, if you just join a new company or you join an organization, you have direct assigned mentors who can be your boss or your peers, but as the founder, as the creator, you don't really have any help outside of you. So that's why it's important to have mentors. And it's great that you've mentioned Mr. Kang Hwa, my mentor. So what he's helped with me and how I envisioned it is that you would need to have a long-term strategic plan. Like for example, because our services range from 3 months to 12 months, right? So example, if you have like a whole 1-year plan, then as a student, it's difficult to envision specifically and like specifically for such a long time. So that's why having mentors who can be startup founders, who can be organization leaders, and have that reality check with you right there to give you a long-term plan. And then those constant weekly meetings could talk about like your progress and constant advice. Because like I've mentioned, us high school students, although we can have that passion and that dream as a young person, it's crucial to have that mindset of wise and older people who've been there, who've done it, just like some of our judges here in Hanoi, because you've done
So
it.
let me
So, yeah.
stop you, Tiffany, and ask you more specifically. Tell me the top 3 things that you think mentors could help the mentees with.
Okay.
I think most importantly, you've talked the most about for founders or starting a business or an event or something like that. So that's one. Are there others?
Yeah, founders, right? And how would I say this? Organizations or charities, because
Okay.
it's for like
Or school events like you did, maybe, something like that.
Yeah, sure, but I'm talking about more. For example, let's take my friend Nhi, and she started her own fundraising event for, and she's actually created events for students, fundraising events for students who living in mountainous areas, and she went with her team there to help fundraise and teach these students actually. So it's not as business founders or revenue driven, but for purposes
Volunteer
such as like that.
purposes,
Yeah,
et cetera,
community
not for
purposes.
profit. Okay,
Yeah.
great. That's awesome. And one final question then for me is, obviously it's so critical to find quality mentors, right? How do you find quality mentors?
Quality mentors, like I said, right? I've mentioned it as they have both the knowledge, the experience, and applied it into their life. So it can be seen through many different aspects. One aspect of this is seen through their past experiences, because past experiences, it may not, past experience, I'm not talking about like how successful their business is, but their past experiences, have they been a teacher? Have they been having programs that helping students? Have they opened their own programs, or have they teach at events, or have they shown any interest in helping high school students? And then we can reach out to the people that they have taught before.
And
So
you would be able to
that's-
do
yeah.
that somehow on your platform to interview them, or?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you. It's a very great idea, and you've put a lot of thought into it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Armstrong. So does anyone have any other? Oh, yes.
What the best way to predict the future is to create it. I love it. And we appreciate that you were able to create the product demo. We love the name YOUTURE, and also the one-page business canvas template. About the UVP, I want to ask more about the mentors. So you say that the key success factor of the model relies on the mentors, including the quality, the quantity, and the long-term relationship with them. So who are they? Where can you find them, and how to maintain the relationship with them?
Question. So for finding these mentors, then I've already to know what they're looking for, like what those mentors are looking for in like what they can give back to our mentees, then I've contacted a few of the mentors who have been mentors for different mentoring programs, and they've all mentioned about how they thought they could give back, and how what they could learn from these mentees themselves. And the way that we could reach out to them is just like how I've reached out to them, is through different mentoring programs that we've seen that they've participated, or through different speaker events. And that's just a few ways that we could reach out to them, or they could be judges to certain competitions. But how do we create this relationship and to maintain this relationship with our mentors? Well, they could have a lot. I believe one of the most important thing is the relationship with the mentees themselves is what keeps their mentors there, because a lot of the programs, they're only for like a few weeks and a few months. So that's why the mentors, they don't feel like teaching or mentoring a student is part of their identity. They're part of who they are. They want to give back. So that's why having 6 months or even 12 months, a year relationship weekly is what really continually building this mentor relationship. And the platform, the community that we've already mentioned, is the community where there will be webinars, there will be study nights for mentors and mentees to constantly interact with each other, constantly spending time, and even offline events. So that's how we build connections and relationships, just like how you build like team building events. That's what we look for when we're building relationships here with our mentors as well. So, thank you, great question.
Thank you for the answer. The last question. So I see that in your UVP, you mentioned that you will get the parents' involvement in the process. So how can you do that, and what is the key driver? What is the initiative for them to do so?
So, as you can see, we're targeting high school students, 16 to 18-year-olds, and we can see that the revenue will mostly come from their parents' income. So that's why it's crucial to have their parents' involvement, to see like for their parents to actually see that this mentoring program is actually helping their children. So how we could involve parents in this process is, first of all, for like, just like have like parent mentor meetings every 3 months, just to see their progress. And before even starting the mentoring program, there's in the slide, but I haven't mentioned it, I haven't talked about it, is that before even starting the program, there will be a meeting for the mentor to meet with the parents to actually see, like, to know more, find out more about the mentee, and find out what are their expectations and what could be to implement a plan for their child for the next 12 months or so. So that's how we can keep involving the parents in to see how their child has grown and how their child could potentially grow even more after this mentoring service. Thank you.
Thank you for the answer and presentation.